Have you ever wondered if Hollywood's glamour hides something darker? The place that symbolizes dreams, fame, and splendor also carries rumors of mysteries, hidden symbols, and manipulations that challenge our understanding. Could there be more to this industry than what we see on screen? Welcome to another night where mysteries never sleep. I'm Midnight, and this is 7 Nights. Tonight, we'll delve behind Hollywood's curtains like never before. Repeated symbols, theories of mind control, and carefully constructed narratives point to something beyond mere entertainment. Could Hollywood be a tool for global manipulation? Let's dive into this dark plot to uncover what might be concealed behind the glamour. Hollywood is more than a physical location. It's a concept, an idea that transcends the hills of California and permeates the collective consciousness of the world. It's like the smell of popcorn. You could be anywhere, but it instantly transports you to the front of a big screen. Hollywood wields that kind of power, except on a mental level. For many, it represents the dream, the possibility of rising from anonymity to fame, of turning talent and ambition into wealth and influence. But this brilliant vision is only one facet of an industry wrapped in mystery, power, and for some, manipulation. What seems to be a universe dedicated to entertainment conceals layers of complexity that intrigue and disturb in equal measure. Hollywood's journey began with the promise of storytelling, a noble goal that quickly intertwined with commercial and political interests. From silent films to today's multi-million-dollar blockbusters, Hollywood has captivated the masses' imagination, shaping cultures, values, and generations. Yet, while audiences were enthralled by the narratives and characters filling the screens, a darker side of the industry began to surface. Theories about Hollywood's true nature are numerous and varied. Some suggest the industry is controlled by a hidden elite, a kind of cult that uses entertainment as a tool to manipulate the masses. The idea may seem absurd at first glance, but it gains traction when we analyze recurring patterns in films, music, and entertainment-related events. These theories didn't emerge from nowhere. They're based on symbols, messages, and behaviors that, for many, cannot be dismissed as mere coincidences. Hidden symbols are a constant in Hollywood productions. All-seeing eyes, triangles, pyramids, and references to esoteric figures appear with surprising frequency. For the general public, these images are seen as artistic or aesthetic choices, but for conspiracy theorists, they're marks of invisible control. These symbols, they say, are designed to infiltrate the subconscious, shaping perceptions and normalizing ideas that serve the interests of an elite. This elite, often described as a cult or secret society, is said to have an agenda that goes far beyond entertainment. Its goal would be to shape society according to its interests, using films, music, and cultural events as tools of manipulation. Exclusive parties, bizarre rituals, and oaths of loyalty are often mentioned in insider accounts of the industry. These events supposedly serve both to unite participants and to ensure their silence. Celebrities are the most visible figures of this system, but are also seen as its greatest victims. For many, achieving fame in Hollywood requires more than talent and hard work. Stories of symbolic pacts, where artists supposedly give up something precious in exchange for success, are common in conspiracy circles. These pacts, according to the theories, often include secret rituals that bind the artists to occult forces. Fame, they say, doesn't come without a price, and that price is often steep. The patterns in celebrities' lives reinforce these theories. Public breakdowns, sudden changes in behavior, and untimely deaths are often seen as evidence of an oppressive system controlling every aspect of their lives. The deaths of figures like Heath Ledger, Amy Winehouse, and Brittany Murphy, for example, are frequently analyzed from a conspiratorial perspective. For many, these tragedies are not mere coincidences, but necessary sacrifices to keep the system running. Children are often viewed as prime targets of this system. Children's films, which should be harmless, are frequently accused of containing subliminal messages and hidden symbolism. Modernized fairy tales, for example, often feature villains associated with esoteric symbols, while heroes follow narratives that normalize controversial concepts. For theorists, these films are effective tools for conditioning young minds, introducing ideas that will shape their beliefs and values throughout life. Pop music also plays a crucial role in this narrative. Catchy rhythms, repetitive lyrics, and music videos filled with symbolism create a powerful combination that, according to theorists, goes beyond mere entertainment. These songs are designed to deeply influence emotions and behaviors, subtly but effectively shaping attitudes and beliefs. Artists often reference pacts or sacrifices in their music, raising questions about the true meaning behind their lyrics. Live events, such as concerts and award shows, are frequently scrutinized for hidden messages. Elaborate performances, complex staging, and extravagant costumes are seen as more than artistic choices. For theorists, these events are disguised rituals designed to consolidate the system's power and reinforce its influence over the audience. These global rituals, as they're often called, attract millions of viewers worldwide, making them an ideal platform for disseminating ideas. Mind control is another element often associated with Hollywood theories. Programs like MKUltra, conducted by the CIA, showed that psychological manipulation is possible and effective. Many believe that similar practices are used in the entertainment industry, both to control artists and to influence the public. Celebrities exhibiting erratic behaviors or public breakdowns are often seen as victims of this system, exposed to traumas that eventually break the control imposed on them. The public's manipulation goes beyond celebrities. Narratives promoted by Hollywood often explore themes of chaos, destruction, and control, presenting these ideas as inevitable or even desirable. For theorists, these stories are more than entertainment. They are deliberate efforts to shape perceptions and prepare audiences to accept new power structures. This subtle yet effective manipulation is seen as one of the industry's most powerful tools, capable of influencing millions without them realizing it. Even the structure of the stories follows patterns that reinforce these theories. Protagonists often face seemingly invincible forces, but end up conforming or finding a way to coexist with these forces. It's like that final boss in a video game that you never truly defeat. You just make peace with to finish the game. Frustrating, isn't it? For theorists, this narrative reflects a subliminal message. The system is unbreakable and must be accepted, not challenged. This message, repeated in countless productions, conditions the audience to accept the status quo as inevitable. Modern technologies have further amplified the reach of this influence. Streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime provide continuous access to content, allowing Hollywood's narratives and messages to be consumed globally. Additionally, these platforms' algorithms actively shape what the audience watches, suggesting content that reinforces specific patterns. For theorists, this personalization is more than a convenience, it's a control tool. Social media also plays a crucial role in this system. Celebrities have become brands, promoting not just their work but also ideals, products, and values. Followers often blindly adopt their idols' opinions and behaviors, creating a cycle of influence that goes far beyond entertainment. For theorists, this almost religious adoration is intentional, designed to consolidate celebrities' positions as cultural authorities. Meanwhile, global events like award shows and large-scale concerts are seen as opportunities to reinforce the system's symbolism and narratives. Carefully choreographed performances, complex sets, and costumes full of symbolism are analyzed for clues about the true intentions behind these events. For theorists, these occasions are modern rituals designed to consolidate the elite's power and reinforce its message to a global audience. Hollywood's influence extends even to political and social perceptions. Films and series often promote ideas aligned with specific agendas, influencing how audiences view issues like governance, justice, and social progress. This connection between entertainment and politics raises questions about how independent Hollywood really is. Who truly decides which stories are told, and for what purpose? Behind the scenes, stories of abuse, exploitation, and control are common but rarely reach the public. Industry insiders often describe Hollywood as a competitive and ruthless place where success often comes at a personal and moral cost. For theorists, these accounts are more than backstage stories. They're evidence of a system that operates by its own rules, protecting the powerful while silencing the vulnerable. The connection between Hollywood and financial elites is another point of great speculation. Many of the largest studios and productions receive significant investments from global corporations and banks, suggesting the industry doesn't operate in isolation. For theorists, these ties are more than just business. They're part of a larger network of cultural and financial control. Whoever controls the flow of money also controls the narratives reaching the public, shaping opinions and beliefs on a global scale. History shows that Hollywood has always played a significant role in cultural shaping. During the Cold War, for example, films were used to promote Western ideologies and counter Soviet influence. Back then, movies weren't just entertainment, they were like those propaganda posters, just way more glamorous. This strategic use of entertainment as a political tool raises questions about how the industry is still being used today. If films were used to influence the masses in the past, why would it be different now? For theorists, what has changed is the sophistication of the tactics, not their essence. Another aspect worth noting is the role of prominent awards like the Oscars and the Golden Globes. These events, presented as talent celebrations, are often seen as much more than that. Some theorists suggest the awards are actually disguised rituals, where winners and performances send symbolic messages to the audience. Speeches, costumes, and sets are analyzed for clues, reinforcing the idea that nothing in these events is left to chance. The way Hollywood stories are told is also subject to scrutiny. Protagonists face monumental challenges, often encountering hidden or relentless forces, and in the end, are forced to make compromises. This narrative structure, repeated in countless films, reinforces the idea that the individual is powerless against larger systems. For theorists, this message is no accident. It's a deliberate way of conditioning the audience to passively accept the status quo. Even future-focused films, like those in the sci-fi genre, are seen as part of this larger narrative. Productions exploring themes like artificial intelligence, transhumanism, and extreme surveillance often present these ideas as inevitable. For theorists, these films aren't just entertainment, but psychological preparations for real societal changes. They normalize concepts that might otherwise be seen as disturbing or unacceptable. Additionally, reality shows play a fundamental role in this system. Presented as light entertainment, they promote values like extreme individualism, consumerism, and obsession with fame. These programs are often seen as reflections of society, but for theorists, they are tools to shape it. Each episode reinforces behavioral patterns and ideals that serve the interests of a hidden elite. Even film soundtracks are scrutinized for subliminal messages. Studies show that certain frequencies and rhythms can evoke specific emotions or even alter mental states. When combined with symbolic images or specific narratives, these soundtracks become powerful tools of influence. Hollywood understands this power and uses it masterfully, creating immersive experiences that go beyond simple entertainment. Emotional manipulation is one of the industry's most effective weapons. Horror films, for instance, often explore primal fears, leaving audiences more receptive to subliminal messages. While the conscious mind is focused on the plot, the subconscious absorbs ideas and symbols that can shape perceptions and behaviors. This technique, subtle but effective, is used not just in cinema, but in every form of visual entertainment. The behavioral patterns promoted by Hollywood are also questioned. Films and series often depict characters who challenge the system, but end up conforming to it. This narrative, repeated in countless productions, reinforces the idea that resistance is futile and that the best option is to accept things as they are. For theorists, this is more than a narrative choice. It's a form of conditioning. Finally, Hollywood's global reach, facilitated by streaming platforms and social media, has further amplified its influence. Today, the industry's narratives and messages reach audiences worldwide, shaping local cultures and traditions. What was once considered taboo in some societies is now accepted, thanks to the power of cinema and music. For theorists, this cultural globalization is part of a larger agenda designed to unify perceptions and consolidate control. The way Hollywood perpetuates ideas through entertainment is also part of its strength. Fantasy films, sci-fi, and even children's animations not only entertain, but also introduce cultural and ideological concepts that, over time, become part of the collective unconscious. Think of fairy tales, reimagined countless times by studios like Disney. These films often present villains associated with esoteric or archetypal symbolism, while heroes represent conformity and acceptance of larger systems. Blockbusters, in particular, are often analyzed from this perspective. Productions like The Matrix, Blade Runner, and The Hunger Games explore themes ranging from transhumanism to rebellion against authoritarian systems. While these films are often seen as critiques of the status quo, many theorists argue that they serve to normalize the concepts they present. By watching these films, audiences are repeatedly exposed to ideas that shape their perceptions of the future, conditioning them to accept realities that might seem dystopian. The role of music in emotional manipulation is another intriguing aspect. Songs featured in soundtracks are carefully chosen to evoke specific emotions, aligning audiences with the film's themes. Studies show that music can influence memory and emotional responses, making it a powerful tool for reinforcing subliminal messages. Additionally, pop music, with its repetitive lyrics and hypnotic beats, is often seen as an extension of this mass manipulation. The celebrities inhabiting Hollywood's world are, in many ways, both beneficiaries and victims of this system. While they shine under the spotlight, they also live under extreme control. Many artists report feeling like they've lost control over their own lives, being forced to adopt images and behaviors that align with the industry's expectations. For theorists, this is not just a marketing strategy. It's a way to ensure celebrities remain within the system, unable to question or challenge it. When a celebrity dares to step out of line, the consequences are often severe. Think of the public breakdowns of figures like Britney Spears or Kanye West. These episodes are often dismissed as personal problems, but theorists see them as signs of failed resistance or attempts to expose the system. The public, however, rarely questions these narratives, accepting official explanations without noticing the underlying patterns. Another point of interest is the use of narratives based on true stories. While these productions often claim authenticity, they frequently distort facts or omit important information. For theorists, this is more than a matter of artistic license. It's a way to shape public perception of historical and social events. These carefully selected and presented narratives help reinforce ideas and values that align with the system's interests. Manipulation also extends to humor. Comedies, often seen as a light and harmless genre, can be used to introduce controversial ideas in a more palatable way. When we're laughing, our critical defenses are lowered, making us more receptive to subliminal messages. This tactic, used in films, series, and even commercials, is highly effective in influencing audiences without them realizing it. Horror cinema is another genre often cited by theorists as a tool for manipulation. That horror movie that gives you nightmares? Maybe the goal isn't just to scare you, but to acclimate your mind to what was once unimaginable. These films explore themes like possession, rituals, and occult forces, introducing concepts that, over time, become less frightening and more normalized. This desensitization, according to theorists, is a strategy to familiarize audiences with ideas that might otherwise be seen as disturbing. Additionally, the heavy use of symbolism in these films is seen as another way to reinforce subliminal messages. Live events, like the Super Bowl or the Met Gala, are also frequently analyzed. Performances, costumes, and elaborate sets are interpreted as modern rituals broadcast to millions worldwide. These events, theorists say, are carefully planned to consolidate the system's power, sending hidden messages to both the audience and participants. Social media has further amplified Hollywood's influence. Today, celebrities are not just artists, they're brands. What they wear, say, and promote is adopted by millions of followers worldwide. For theorists, this near-religious adoration of celebrities is intentional, designed to create an emotional dependency that can be exploited in countless ways. Social media doesn't just connect fans to their idols, it also monitors and shapes behaviors, using algorithms to reinforce specific narratives. The tech moguls now collaborating with Hollywood are also frequent targets of suspicion. Platforms like Netflix, Amazon, and Disney have near total control over the content we consume. They don't just produce, but also distribute and promote narratives that align with their corporate and ideological interests. For theorists, these corporations are not just businesses, they're extensions of Hollywood's control system. Behind all this lies the question of who really controls Hollywood. While the public focuses on stars and directors, the true decision-makers remain in the shadows. Producers, investors, and studio executives hold the power to decide which stories are told and which aren't. This concentration of power raises troubling questions about the industry's impact on our culture and society. One of the most intriguing questions about Hollywood is how stories that consume billions in production and marketing are selected and developed. For many theorists, it's no coincidence that certain themes and narratives are repeated so frequently. The recurrence of topics like the reluctant hero, the battle against a greater force, and redemption through sacrifice is seen as more than a creative choice. These themes reflect values and perceptions the system wants to perpetuate. The narratives of superheroes, for example, have dominated the industry for over a decade. Films from Marvel and DC explore themes of power, responsibility, and control. While presented as stories of triumph and hope, many theorists argue that these films also normalize the idea of constant surveillance, centralized authority, and individual sacrifice for the greater good. Audiences, mesmerized by explosions and visual effects, rarely question what these stories actually teach. Hollywood's influence goes beyond cinema. The industry also shapes how we perceive history, politics, and even our future. Documentaries, often considered reliable sources of information, are frequent targets of criticism for their bias. Oh, documentaries are serious business, right? Except sometimes, they seem to tell only the side of the story that was convenient to tell. Many productions carefully select the facts they present, ignoring information that could contradict their narratives. For theorists, this is no accidental oversight, but a deliberate tactic to shape public perception of important issues. The role of nostalgia in cultural manipulation should also not be underestimated. Hollywood often reimagines or reinvents old stories, presenting them to new generations. While this is often explained as an attempt to capitalize on past success, theorists argue there's more at play. Retelling old stories in specific ways can alter how we understand our own cultural and spiritual roots. This not only shapes our perception of the past, but also influences how we imagine the future. The manipulation of emotions through entertainment is another area of great interest. Drama films, for example, often explore themes like loss, love, and overcoming adversity, creating deep emotional connections with audiences. While these stories can be inspiring, they also leave audiences more vulnerable to subliminal messages. When we're emotionally involved, our critical defenses are lowered, making us more receptive to ideas and values we might otherwise question. Additionally, technology plays an increasingly significant role in disseminating these narratives. With the advent of streaming platforms, the amount of content available to audiences has exploded. While this seems like a victory for freedom of choice, many theorists argue that these platforms are used to direct audiences toward consuming certain types of content. Carefully designed algorithms not only reflect our preferences, but also shape them, suggesting films and series that reinforce specific patterns. The impact of these narratives is evident in how they shape our values and behaviors. Think of the modern obsession with fame, wealth, and physical appearance. These priorities, often promoted by films, series, and music, create a culture of constant comparison and dissatisfaction. For theorists, this is no accidental byproduct of the industry, but a deliberate goal. A dissatisfied audience is easier to control, as it's constantly seeking something to fill the void. Another fascinating aspect of Hollywood is how the industry deals with rebels. Artists who refuse to follow the system's rules often face severe consequences. Contracts are canceled, reputations are destroyed, and in extreme cases, lives are cut short. These examples serve as warnings to others within the industry, showing the price of challenging the status quo. For theorists, these stories are not coincidences, they're displays of power designed to ensure compliance. The behavioral patterns promoted by Hollywood also reflect the system's influence. Heroic characters often face monumental challenges, only to discover their only option is to conform to the system they initially challenged. This narrative, repeated in countless films, reinforces the idea that individuals are powerless against larger forces. For theorists, this is more than a narrative choice. It's a deliberate message designed to condition audiences. Additionally, the connection between Hollywood and other forms of media is often seen as part of a larger strategy. Newspapers, magazines, and TV programs often promote the same narratives and values seen in films. This consistency is no coincidence, theorists say, but part of a coordinated effort to reinforce specific messages across all platforms. Award ceremonies like the Oscars are often seen as the pinnacle of artistic recognition, but for theorists, they are much more than that. These events are analyzed for hidden symbolism, with costumes, sets, and speeches interpreted as messages to those who understand their meaning. While the public sees these awards as celebrations of talent, theorists see them as carefully orchestrated rituals to consolidate the system's power. The audience's role in this system cannot be ignored. By consuming Hollywood's content, we actively participate in its cycle of influence. Every movie ticket purchased, every song downloaded, and every series watched contributes to reinforcing the system that, according to theorists, shapes our perceptions and beliefs. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, with the audience demanding more of what Hollywood has to offer while internalizing its messages without questioning them. Hollywood is often described as a perfect machine, capable of blending art and business like no other industry in the world. However, behind its impeccable shine and the glamour of its productions, there are gears that many believe operate in hidden ways, driven by interests that go beyond mere entertainment. The notion that Hollywood is a tool for cultural manipulation is not just a theory, but a perspective that gains strength as patterns, symbols, and recurring narratives are identified in its works. Consider the war films produced during times of global tension. During World War II, Hollywood openly collaborated with the U.S. government to produce propaganda films that boosted troop morale and public support while demonizing the enemy. Films like Casablanca and The Guns of Navarone weren't just stories to entertain, but also instruments to shape public opinion and galvanize support for government policies. For theorists, such partnerships not only continued but also evolved, becoming more sophisticated and integrated into seemingly neutral narratives. Today, big-budget productions often explore themes that, for many, have little to do with artistic creativity and much more with carefully calculated messages. Think of how alien invasions, apocalypses, and societal collapses are explored in successive blockbusters. These stories, theorists say, prepare audiences to accept ideas that were once seen as unacceptable, such as constant surveillance, invasive technology, and centralized control by powerful institutions. Films like The Matrix and Minority Report are not just entertainment. They are, according to this view, cultural experiments. Another point often raised is the use of celebrities' personal tragedies to divert public attention from larger issues. Scandals and star breakdowns are widely covered by the media, often overshadowing more relevant news about politics, economics, or global conflicts. For theorists, this is no accident. Hollywood's machine, with its ability to capture the world's eyes, would be used to manipulate not just individuals but entire societies, distracting and diverting focus from important issues. Music plays a central role in this system. Beyond being a form of entertainment, it is a powerful tool to access people's emotions directly. Catchy rhythms, seemingly simple but repetitive lyrics, and hidden messages in music videos are seen as ways to hypnotize audiences. Artists who achieve meteoric success often have their careers and works scrutinized under the lens of conspiracy. References to dark pacts, symbolism related to secret societies, and unexplained behavioral changes reinforce the narrative that they are merely pieces in a larger game. The obsession with symbols in Hollywood is another area of intense debate. All-seeing eyes, triangles, pentagrams, and even references to ancient gods repeatedly appear in films, music videos, and even award shows. While these are often dismissed as aesthetic choices, theorists see them as tools for normalizing certain concepts. The constant repetition of these symbols, they argue, implants subconscious ideas into the audience's minds, influencing their perception of the world. Reality shows, often considered harmless entertainment, are also targets of criticism in this context. These programs promote values such as extreme individualism, consumerism, and the relentless pursuit of fame. Reality TV has become the modern manual for looking perfect while the whole world watches you stumble. But why? Each episode reinforces behavioral patterns that prioritize appearance and material success over deeper or communal values. For theorists, reality shows are more than fleeting fun. They are tools of cultural manipulation designed to create a society more susceptible to control. Streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime have further expanded the reach of these narratives. With algorithms that personalize content recommendations, these platforms not only reflect users' tastes but also shape them. The constant availability of entertainment creates a cycle where audiences continuously consume narratives that reinforce certain ideas and values. This is especially concerning when considered on a global scale, where these platforms reach billions of people. Hollywood's award shows, such as the Oscars and the Golden Globes, are also seen as symbolic rituals. Speeches, costumes, and even the staging are analyzed for hidden messages. For theorists, these ceremonies are not just talent celebrations, but carefully orchestrated events to reinforce cultural dominance and send specific messages to those who understand their codes. The public, enchanted by the glamour, rarely questions what lies beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the role of social media in amplifying these influences cannot be ignored. Celebrities are not just public figures, they are global brands. Everything they do, say, or wear is closely monitored by millions of followers. This direct influence is seen as an extension of the control Hollywood exerts, where even authentic movements are questioned for their true origin and intent. Additionally, the way Hollywood reimagines old stories is often seen as a means of shaping collective memory. Myths, legends, and fairy tales are retold in ways that alter their original meaning. For theorists, this is more than artistic appeal. It's a way to control how people perceive their cultural and spiritual roots. Rewriting these stories is, essentially, rewriting humanity's history. Hollywood's backstage, described by many insiders as a toxic and ruthless place, also offers a glimpse into the larger system. Stories of abuse, exploitation, and the silencing of critical voices are common, but rarely reach the public. Those who dare to challenge the system often face severe retaliation, from professional boycotts to smear campaigns. For theorists, these cases are evidence of a system that protects its secrets at any cost. The idea that Hollywood operates as a kind of modern cult is not just speculation. Stories of exclusive parties, secret rituals, and symbolic pacts are often mentioned in anonymous accounts. These events, theorists say, are ways to consolidate power within the system and ensure participants' loyalty. While these stories are often dismissed as conspiracy theories, they persist, fueled by unsettling patterns and coincidences. Hollywood, with its glitz, glamour, and global influence, transcends the role of a mere entertainment industry. It's a powerful mechanism that shapes cultures, defines values, and influences behaviors on a planetary scale. Beneath its facade of dreams and aspirations lies a complex machine that operates in ways many believe to be both intentional and manipulative. The combination of narratives, symbols, and emotional control makes Hollywood not just a mirror of society, but an active tool in its construction. When we look at Hollywood's impact, we cannot ignore how its stories become part of everyday life. Movie quotes, soundtrack songs, and even fashion trends emerge directly from its productions and seep into the fabric of society. This cultural integration is impressive, but also raises questions about the extent to which we're being influenced. Movies don't just reflect who we are, they shape who we become. They introduce ideals and values that may seem organic, but, according to theorists, are carefully calculated to align with larger interests. The symbolism in Hollywood is perhaps the most fascinating and disturbing aspect of its productions. When we look at what's present in films, music, and award shows, it's hard to ignore the patterns that repeat. All-seeing eyes, pyramids, triangles, and other elements associated with the occult appear so frequently that they go beyond mere coincidence. For conspiracy theorists, these symbols are not just aesthetics, but marks of a larger system that controls cultural narratives and manipulates the audience. Celebrities' roles in this system are crucial. They are the visible faces of an invisible mechanism that uses their influence to reach audiences on an emotional scale. What they say, wear, and do isn't just marketing. It's part of a larger cultural control strategy. For theorists, the idea that these public figures are entirely in charge of their careers and images is an illusion. They are carefully shaped to serve larger purposes, and those who attempt to step out of line often face severe consequences. Public breakdowns of stars, often treated as mere personal dramas, are viewed differently by theorists. They believe these episodes often expose the limits of the control exerted over these figures. Whether through emotional breakdowns, sudden behavioral changes, or seemingly out-of-place statements, these occurrences are interpreted as cracks in the system, moments where the facade begins to crumble. Music is another area where control and manipulation are frequently discussed. With its hypnotic beats, repetitive lyrics, and symbolism-filled music videos, pop music is seen as a powerful tool of influence. Artists often mention selling their soul to achieve success, which is interpreted by many as more than a metaphor. These pacts, symbolized by specific gestures or images, are said to be part of a larger system that ensures conformity and the continuation of power. Children, as a target audience, are especially vulnerable. Children's films, cartoons, and music aimed at young people often contain layers of subliminal messages that, according to theorists, shape how these impressionable minds perceive the world. Modernized fairy tales present villains associated with esoteric symbols, while heroes follow narratives that reinforce specific ideals. This, they say, is a way of planting cultural seeds that will bloom in future generations. Streaming platforms like Netflix and Disney Plus have further expanded the reach of these influences. With algorithms that personalize recommendations, these platforms have the power to steer audiences toward consuming content that reinforces specific narratives. What seems like a free choice is, in reality, a carefully designed system to shape preferences and behaviors. The ability to reach billions of people in their own homes has made Hollywood an unparalleled global force. Meanwhile, events like the Oscars and the Super Bowl continue to be analyzed for hidden messages. It's funny to think that while you're rooting for your favorite movie or watching that halftime show, some people are scrutinizing every detail as if it were a puzzle full of secret messages. These occasions, which attract millions of viewers, are seen as opportunities to reinforce narratives and symbolism. Stirring speeches, elaborate performances, and even seemingly trivial details are interpreted as part of a larger effort to consolidate the system's power and perpetuate its messages. The audience's role in this system is also crucial. By consuming Hollywood's content, we actively participate in its cycle of influence. Every movie ticket bought, every song downloaded, and every series watched contributes to reinforcing the system that, according to theorists, shapes our perceptions and beliefs. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, with the audience demanding more of what Hollywood has to offer while internalizing its messages without questioning them. For those who believe in Hollywood's theories, the central question is not just whether manipulation exists, but why. What is the ultimate goal of this system? Is it merely serving the commercial interests of studios and corporations? Or is there something deeper, a coordinated effort to shape society according to a specific vision of the future? While the answers vary, one thing is certain. Hollywood continues to captivate and influence the world in ways that go far beyond entertainment. Hollywood is much more than entertainment. Its productions shape cultures, influence behaviors, and introduce concepts that extend far beyond the cinema. Is this a coincidence or part of something larger? This story is just one piece, and one day, you might see the whole puzzle. If this made you think, subscribe and like the video. It helps the channel grow. Don't forget to share, because more voices mean more discoveries. If you've made it this far, it's because something in this mystery captivated you. But I bet you haven't seen everything yet. Click on the next videos now to continue your journey into the unknown. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next secrets I'm about to reveal. But be careful, once you step inside, there's no turning back.